Do you want to jump on it and stand on it and test it out?
Yeah, you know I do.
Hey guys, we got a pretty exciting video coming up. We're meeting up with the Kilowatts to get his reaction to the Tesla Cybertruck. And what's pretty exciting about this one is that the Kilowatts has a big Turo fleet of Teslas that he rents out on Turo. So I want to get his reaction on what he feels or how he feels the Cybertruck is going to do on Turo in terms of durability and much more. So definitely check it out. What's up? Good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, hi, I'm Dennis.
I'm Tad. Nice to meet you.
We're gonna get my first reactions first.
Because you've definitely seen the Cybertruck apply.
I've seen the Cybertruck a whole ton. Spy photos at the event, but I've not yet driven it, been inside of it.
Dude, I'm down to let you drive it and check it out.
Thank you.
I did want to kind of get your reaction because you've got a fleet of vehicles on Turo, right?
Yes, correct.
So I want to hear, like, if you get your 50 orders of Cybertruck, how is this truck going to actually be in a Turo fleet?
Sure.
Or, like, after seeing it, driving it, and everything.
I mean, how aggressive can I be?
You can be as aggressive as you want. It's up to you.
So
what do you mean, that car?
just to start it out,
yeah.
What I'm excited about from like a rental perspective.
There you go, dude, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, what about all these fingerprints?
Yeah, sure. Some people might care about that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's just a better vehicle. Like, so what about fingerprints? I mean, you've got to change your paradigm of thinking.
This is already starting to get like surface scratches, and I'm like worried
that's
because
that's a good point.
You can't buff this out like a regular car.
I mean, like a regular car, sure, but Tesla should have, if they don't already, some advice as to how to do that. That's a really good point, though. You can see right around the door, probably people's like belt loops and whatnot.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that is more of a concern. More than the fingerprints, that's meaningful.
And I think that's probably why a ton of people are wrapping them.
Sure.
But then I don't even know, like, if you wrap it, can steel, I'm not a scientist or an engineer or anything like that, but can steel be okay under a wrap? Like oxidation and everything?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
It's just a sticker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be more worried about paint oxidizing than steel, yeah. What's great about this is it's a blank canvas. If they need to be wrapped, that's not the worst thing in the world. It allows for a lot of customization. I think that's what Tesla was doing, was kind of implying with all the prototypes, hey, you should customize it.
Right.
But yeah, definitely with surface level scratches, there should be do they recommend a Brillo pad? What do they recommend? They should recommend something.
Well, what about like the liability of all this stuff? Like it's got sharp edges. Even though they try and round it out, you can still tell it's a little bit sharp.
I mean, that's not gonna cut me though.
Try it on that one actually. Careful with this one, careful with this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, it's a little bit rough.
Yeah. I don't think, I mean, I see what you're saying, but it's also not as bad as other people are saying.
Right.
It's not likely that I'm gonna hurt myself on that, but it is possible I'd hurt myself on that.
Yeah, it's gonna be super interesting to see once you get a fleet of these and put it in a Turo, like, hey, it's gonna be hot. Everybody's gonna wanna rent it. If it gets into an accident, like, I don't even know, like, what's like the repair process on this kind of stuff.
Sure. I mean, the hope is that a lot of the parts are simple and easy to ship. This piece should just be one piece that's easier to ship because it's more rigid. My hope is that things are easy and cheap, but again, I'm looking at like, okay, if you were to hit something right here, that is potentially multiple panels, and I don't know. Tesla already did a lot with the Model Y and castings. They've thought a lot about that. They have their own insurance product. It'll be very interesting to see how the insurance play breaks out.
Exactly, yeah. Because for your Turo insurance, do you use Turo's insurance or do you use your own policy or Tesla insurance?
Sure, so when it's on a trip with Turo, I'm using Turo's protection plans as well as their liability insurance. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting thing. Again, those being separate, in my possession, it's on my insurance.
Right.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then how much do you think this is going to rent for a day?
Early on, people who have them will get anywhere between $500 and $1,000 per day. Long term, a year from now, I could see them going down to $300-400 per day. Like, it's still really going to be pretty high for a long time to come. And 2 years from now, it'll probably level out around $200 per day, which is still incredible. Right now, my Model 3s and Ys are getting $60, $70, maybe $80 a day. Yeah, but I think like this is just so unique that people will want to try it early on, and then when it's more like normalized a couple years from now, it's still going to be a different experience. I don't know how normal this will ever be. So I think there's still gonna be some additional value beyond just any other pickup truck.
What do you think about unplugged performances, rims, fenders, and all the different things?
The fenders are cool. I like that they kept the geometric pattern. I mean, some of the things that they're doing the best they can with having the camera peek through there. I love these wheels. That is a sick wheel, forged all the way through. I think it looks sick. All right. What I love about it is it's so tough. It's so rugged. For renting, it should be great. Even if this isn't the vehicle that's great for renting, I want there to be a cyber car. So I'm hoping that they see some of that and like what they could do with a cyber car would be really impressive.
Yeah, the one thing though, so I did bring this to my detailer and he told me that the plastics on this is the cheapest plastics you've ever seen.
Cheapest in the bed.
Not good quality in terms of like the trims and everything.
Sure. I mean, it depends on what condition you want it to be in. And for me, as long as it lasts, I don't care that it's
fading and things like that.
I'm fine with it as long as it's like durable. So I'm like, cheap can mean multiple things. I want it to be cheap and easy to replace.
I've heard that people rent trucks off of like rental places and things like that so they can beat them to use like as a contracting truck. Are you worried that people might do that to this?
It's a little hard to tell right now what that's gonna be. I mean, obviously, yeah, that is a concern that, you know, it's truly abused. It's not used as a rental car. It's used as a tow vehicle, even though the insurance doesn't cover that. I think there's some like potentially good things that I would need to better understand the implications of, like, should we be able to view the cameras when it's on a rental? There's a lot of these things that, like, well, from a privacy standpoint, no, but from an abuse standpoint, yes. Obviously, I think one of the best things that we have is, like, we have exact location of the car at any time. So that kind of stuff, we should be able to see it's at a job site and then follow up on that. I don't have great answers for that, but yeah, that is a concern. That's where maybe longer term I'm more excited about a cyber car, but this has a lot of learnings that would be applied to that. And then, yeah, I think like I had my Rivian before and this broke. I'm excited for someone to take this out to Burning Man. Partly what happened with mine is it got salt in it at Burning Man.
Oh, and it get basically geared up or got in there.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see how this is abused. I would love for if they've already done like Burning Man level testing with it, but if not, mine probably will.
Do you want to jump on it and stand on it and test it out?
Yeah, you know I do. All right. That is impressive. You can feel just like a little bit of flex, but no, we're good. Very cool. And it works.
Exactly, look at that. What I really like about this tonneau cover is that it's a lock tonneau cover, like for security, which is really important in the California Bay Area especially.
Yeah, absolutely. Being able to safely store your stuff. I've been telling my renters, like, you know, windows can break, put your stuff in the front. Here you've got multiple levels of security. That's obviously one. Underbed storage is another. I've not even seen the front yet. I've not opened the front yet.
Okay. So push forward.
Huh. I'm surprised it's not more rubberized, or more texturized.
Right, and it's already getting beat up like crazy.
Oh, sure. I mean, you are. I appreciate you pushing this to some limits here. Yeah, very cool.
And we did test it. It does have a safety system that if you sit here and you push it close, it will stop if it hits like a body or something like that.
Is that so? Oh,
look
yeah,
at that.
That's pretty good, actually. It didn't even hurt.
Exactly.
Like, that was really gentle. Yeah, that's actually pretty good.
And the same effect is on the tonneau cover too. So if you put your head right there.
I'm not gonna put my head there, but here, let me like plant my feet. Oh, actually not that bad. Good safety design, I like it. I'm impressed. Again, obviously I'm worried about like contractors and like, I'll call it like abusive use. But as far as like a daily driver for most people just to rent it as basically as an SUV with a big, unique trunk.
Right.
I'm so stoked. And it is dead quiet in here. You can't hear anyone outside. The Squircle. It's actually smaller than I thought. Some of the videos, some of the photos I've seen, this is more like a Model 3, Model Y size wheel rather than the Model S or X, which are larger wheels.
Feel the steer bar wire. That's it. That's it.
Yeah. You can feel the back moving around a little bit as well as it's doing the rear steer. When it shows on the screen, that's cool. I think the massive dash, it reminds me very much of the Model X. This is cool. After seeing them for so long, it's just kind of funny to finally be able to drive one. First of all, like with the Squircle, it's kind of nice with like the...
You can finally do that again because the yoke, you lose that.
The yoke, good idea for drag strip, bad idea for actual car. Yeah, it's funny because the new Model 3 steering wheel, I feel like these buttons are even bigger on the new Model 3.
This Cybertruck is maybe even 30% more comfortable than the Model X in terms of comfort.
Oh, I mean, so far the suspension, this is great.
Yeah, and we're on 22-inch rims right now. It still feels good.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is the dual motor.
This is the dual motor, yes.
Yeah. So this is definitely what I would want in many ways. I think like the tri-motor, it's great, but this one has more range than, right? Especially for my rental fleet, I'm gonna want as much. Again, I see this as being like the best SUV that just so happens to be a truck.
Right.
It's dual motor at that acceleration, that's perfect. I'm just kind of steering here. It's nice, it's tight, like it's so quick. I'm doing very little steering to do a lot to the body. Let's try a quick U-turn. Oh, that is tight. Hell yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like I'm in a much shorter vehicle with that kind of turn. I mean, it feels good. I don't really have much else to say.
Once this gets down to like the 60, maybe 70, 80,
it's a deal for 60. Yeah, I think 70 to 80 is what I think is kind of the appropriate market price for this right now. It's a luxurious vehicle. Like it is of S or X quality, if not better in some ways. Obviously, again, you're missing the screen there. I personally, I'm so used to the 2-screen. That and that. Another miss here is there's no tilt. Oh, that's a good point. S and X have the screen tilt, and this does not. I don't think the tilt's really that necessary. I'm sure they looked at the data. This almost suggests they're going to remove it from S and X. I don't know how much it would actually help though, because it's just angling it more towards you. It's not actually bringing it closer to you. It's got the thinner bezels that the new Model 3 Highland has with the screen there.
So I dropped my camera and it made a little nick right here.
Oh!
And so that made me think, like, is this interior built for a rugged truck?
Ooh, yeah. I hear what you're saying though. It's tough because like in some ways the R1T is also luxurious, but maybe tougher in some ways. Like this leather-ish material is not maybe as tough as like wood would be, or it doesn't hide blemishes as well as something like a wood would do.
I feel like the Rivian's definitely poised to like an adventurous type of person, outdoorsy, whereas this is like a work truck on the outside at least.
Yeah, I really struggle with those whole like, oh, it's marketed to a different audience kind of discussions, because I'm like, at the end of the day, people are going to cross shop. Like when I was first buying like my first Model 3, I was cross shopping that against an older SUV. Like consumers want a lot of different things and there's compromises. In my mind, sure, you can say that the Rivian R1T and this are very different, and there are going to be consumers who are like, oh, I will only get one or the other. But I think realistically, most consumers are like, I need something that I can put some amount of lumber in. I need something that I can bring my kids in. I need something that has good range. They're not thinking that much about, this is an adventurous vehicle. I mean, my first statement was more about the look. Some people are just gonna be intolerant of the Cybertruck. Some people are gonna be intolerant of like Rivian's front fascia, the like eyes kind of look. The majority of consumers are looking more about like, what am I buying?
Right.
And I think these two products are much more comparable, especially once Rivian gets the NACS plug. Like Cybertruck is exciting because it's new. Once it's more out there, once there's 100,000 units on the road, now I'm less excited about the Cybertruck being different. I'm more like, okay, what satisfies my needs? And sure, maybe there's like a couple more features like the light in the door of the Rivian that maybe make it a better adventurous vehicle, but this is better for if I'm like running through trees and a branch scratches it. So
right.
Is it more adventurous? Is this more adventurous? I don't really subscribe to some of that.
The one big difference that I noticed right off the bat is that the Rivian bed is a lot smaller than this one.
Oh yeah, no, and that's definitely a good argument for this. This is in a way more of a work bed, but also maybe more of like an adventurous bed too.
Right.
More space, does that make it less adventurous?
But final thoughts on the drive? What do you think?
It feels really easy to drive. It feels surprisingly normal. I think like a lot of people made a big deal out of steer-by-wire. That U-turn back there, you don't notice the steer-by-wire as much. It's immediately lost. It's just a matter of how significant am I turning the wheel. So you're just recalibrating, but you're always recalibrating. Some cars have 2.5 turns lock to lock. Some cars are 1.5 lock to lock. So I think people are making a bigger deal out of that. It's not like a learning curve as much as it is just like any other car getting in and driving it. If anything, I'm noticing more how the pedal is more of like a trucker or bus pedal than the like car or SUV pedal. I notice that just as much, if not more, than I do steer-by-wire. Big difference is just it's quicker steering, and that's just nice. The yoke, it was a drag strip design. This is actually a good design. I like the Squircle.
Function.
I don't like the name of the Squircle, but I like the Squircle.
What would you call it?
I don't have a better name. It's functional. Very cool. Thank you for sharing it with me.
Yeah, of course. Anytime.